Hi everyone, my name is Julie McConnell. I'm the director of the Children's Defense Clinic at the University of Richmond School of Law. I'm here to unpack the case Jones versus Mississippi decided by the Supreme Court. In this case, a 15-year-old was originally sentenced to die in prison for a murder that he committed and got a resentencing hearing as a result of two important cases, Miller versus Alabama, decided in 2012, and Montgomery versus Louisiana, decided in 2016. In the Miller case, the court said that mandatory life without parole sentences were unconstitutionally harsh and violative of the Eighth Amendment, and therefore no longer available in sentencing children under 18. And in Montgomery versus Louisiana, the court said that that rule should be applied retroactively to anyone who had received a death in prison sentence when under 18. Part of those decisions was that the court had to examine the attributes of youth before sentencing any child to a life sentence, and that part of that examination included that the court must make a predicate finding that the child is permanently incorrigible, that there is no hope of rehabilitation before imposing such an extreme sentence. The court clearly was very focused on the point that these sentences should be very rare in the cases of juveniles and only when there is no hope of rehabilitation. And what we have seen with many of the Miller and almost all of the Miller and Montgomery defendants who have been resentenced is that their prison records have been stellar, and they actually are very amenable to rehabilitation. Once their brains fully develop in their mid-20s, they tend to do extremely well in prison. And in light of that data and science, the court said it was no longer appropriate to impose such harsh sentences on juveniles. And they made sure that the court would have to do a proper analysis of all these factors by first making a decision about whether the child was permanently incorrigible. What the U.S. Supreme Court did in Jones versus Mississippi is take the heart out of Miller and Montgomery, because a court no longer has to make that permanent incorrigibility finding now that we have Jones versus Mississippi. Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Breyer were very concerned and wrote strong dissents, and particularly focused on the fact that these precedents were so recent, 2012 and 2016. It was very concerned that the court essentially reversed precedent without saying that that was what they were doing. But in fact, because they did take the teeth out of Miller and Montgomery, they very much have reversed that precedent. However, many states have, in light of Miller and Montgomery, abolished life without parole as even an option for juveniles. So we are making progress at the state level, and we will continue to do that because states more and more recognize how important it is to consider the attributes of youth before sentencing any child before them. And regardless of Jones versus Mississippi, we're going to continue to see states moving in that direction because it is so clear that what we know about adolescent brain development and trauma really is an important part of any consideration when sentencing a juvenile. Thank you.